Hi, this is Parent Coach K, your parenting solutions coach. And I have my parenting solutions in a minute, but I get a little bit longer when I'm doing something on YouTube. So I want to talk about how I want to talk about. Yes, I want to talk about how so many um, so many experts. Okay, now what I do is I'm a parent coach, and I take from the best and I bring them those solutions to my clients. The parenting experts who are the best at being authoritative or leaders, um, in whatever area that you know, just whatever it is, I want to bring them to my clients because when my clients come to me, I'm usually the last house on the block. They've done everything, star charts and X and Y, and been to put out a lot of money. They don't have a lot of bandwidth. They need solutions. So if they've been working on a tantrum, trying to get that kid to stop the tantrum, whatever it is, I have to get to it. Okay. So I don't want to waste anyone's time. So what I want to talk about is having a great relationship with your kids. So we all want a great relationship with our kids. I mean, I know you do. You're sitting here you're giving me your valuable time. It's because maybe you need help with something. Maybe you have kids who are tantruming or having meltdowns or back talk or not sleeping in their own beds, or teenagers that just when you want them to bring their dish to the sink, they just look at you like, I don't think so. Uh, which is sad, right? And when I was a kid, I was just that new way of parenting, which is like everything traditional is bad. Those people were stupid and you know backwoods, whatever you want to call it, and they just what's the term? I don't know the term. Um, if I say something that's not PC, please know that someone will let me know before this is even put up there. So I do the best I can. Um, so wow, it's so hard. I want to be so careful because I work with different clients, and I try to remember everything because you always want to be, of course, want to be, respectful. So I have to put little things up here that, how someone wants me to refer to them. And of course, I always want to do the right thing. All right. So great relationships with your kids. And so when I was growing up, I was just at the beginning of that, all that everything old school is bad. It's just, it's my way the highway, and father knows best stuff, and you know, uh, and yeah, women didn't. Well, let's not go down that road. So progress is really, really good. However, there's one area that progress has not been so good in, and that's why I do what I do when it comes to raising kids. Are kids more respectful today? Why do I have a job helping parents, which I love, by the way? I'm grateful to do this. I did, I was failing my um, kids, and I'm a step parent, and we have our own. And if you can't get your 5-year-old to stop having a meltdown and you're in a power struggle with your kids over tantrums or just your garden variety misbehaviors, that kids are going to misbehave, but are you giving them a nice childhood? Really? They should have the Garden of Eden, shouldn't they? They shouldn't have power struggles with a parent over tantruming, or um, that's why we're negotiating and we're trying to get compliance and agreement and reason with your kid. And this isn't making our kids happier. It's really actually very unkind to them. It feels very good to us. I know it felt good to me. I'm going to do everything different than my parents did. Absolutely. In fact, I needed to be heard because if only my parents heard me, and I still feel that way actually. I feel like, yeah, they could have listened a lot better. Um, and we can always improve. And so there's things that progress is good in certain areas, but when we have to go to an expert and pay them $250 an hour or $125, whatever it is, because, excuse me, because because a 5-year-old, it won't stop having a tantrum. And then we go talk to that expert about it. Well, uh, what do you think's going on? What's going on with your child? This would happen to me. I went to an expert. They go, well, has your child seen anything? Has he seen an act of violence? Because my son was hitting me when he was 4, and I didn't know what to do. And I thought I'm this perfect mother because I would read him Hands Are Not for Hitting. I love that book. It's great. So we'd sit down, I'd read him Hands Are Not for Hitting. And I'd say, so you wouldn't like it if someone hit you, would you? And go, no, mommy. And I'd go like, oh, I'm a great mom. We got it down. And then an hour later, when he didn't get his ice cream, whack. And my husband would look at this going, what? Our son's hitting you. And I'd be like, then my husband would want to discipline my son, which is like, what are you going to do? Because I don't want you to do anything that's going to crush his spirit. Or, but meanwhile, he was crushing mine. He was punching me in the face. And he's always a great kid. He's big now. But I would go to experts. I went to one expert that said, well, has he seen an act of violence? Has he seen your husband hit you? It's like, no, not yet. He might, because this isn't going well. But no, that was not an issue. But it was this discussion. We'll find out what's triggering your child. Well, here's the thing. Let me cut to it. What's triggering? We're talking garden variety. There's exceptions to everything. I'm talking about the kid who follows directions when it's going his way. Like, oh, you want 5 more minutes on the Xbox, or you want to watch your, show a few more minutes more? Yes, thank you. Everything's wonderful. Okay. All right. But the kid that when you suggest he eat a green thing on his plate, or, well, I can understand that, but the kid who gets a meltdown when he doesn't, or she doesn't, or they do not get what they want, that's what I'm talking about. And this can be turned around very quickly. But is it working for you to keep talking about it with your child and going to an expert? If you've been going to an expert 2 or 3 times, and those tantrums, there's no solution. There's just, so what often can happen, I'm not saying with everyone, by the way, if you are an expert, by expert, I mean, therapist, right? I refer my clients because there's certain things that I don't handle at all. I mean, many things. I just help parents stop tantrums and backtalk and sibling conflict and get kids out of their parents' beds, and get their parents out of their kids' beds, and get their kids to do chores, have them follow directions the first time. That's what I do. But there's things that I cannot do, and so I refer out. It's like I go, no, that's extra crunchy. That's beyond my scope. So you want a great relationship with your kids. Well, you need to establish your authority early on, so your kids feel safe. They trust you. So they can predict, if they do make a bad choice, they can predict that, oh, there's probably going to be a consequence for that, instead of just talk therapy all day long, which isn't working. Is it? Do you have a kid who's been tantruming maybe since they were 3? They might be 8 now, or 9. They're getting worse, because they say don't sweat the small stuff, but if you don't handle that, it's going to become very big stuff. That was my experience, and for my clients as well. So you want a great relationship, establish authority now, early on. It doesn't mean you're going to scream, you're going to yell, my way or the highway, because I said so. And these experts will, when you read everything on the internet, it's either, if you do anything is even anything like, for stern or traditional, which is stern, but traditional, that's bad. You are a bad control freak parent. And then the other way, if you're too permissive, they'll say, well, you should draw a boundary, but no one tells you how. So if you're not going to anyone that's telling you how to stop the tantrum, why are you continuing to go to them? To discuss what your child's feeling and get your spelunking gear and dig and find out what's the trigger points. This stuff is hard, and it's not good for our kids. Studies are out there that well-behaved children are happier kids. It doesn't start the other way around. You don't get a happy kid, like you're trying to make him happy. Our kid's happy, and then they're gonna behave well. No. Your kid behaves well, they're gonna be happier. You have to have love and leadership side by side. You have to have a authoritative hand, and that sounds like this: I want you to, I expect you to, I need you to. I almost said because I said so, because it is because you said so, isn't it? Not because you're a control freak, but because you said so. You're the parent. No, you're not having gluten. I know my clients. No, you're not having that because who, by the way, because who said so? When you don't want your child to ride their bike down to the end of the block, but another parent says that's fine, who made that decision? It's you, mom or dad, and you could be the adult in the room, and it's okay to say, because I said so. Now, when your kids are older, they're teens, no, that's not gonna fly because I said to take the barrels down. No. But here's the thing, you want great relationships with your teenagers, don't you? So you want to be authoritative now when they're young. So they know exactly where they stand. And that's only when they know where you stand, mom or dad. But if you keep moving around, moving that boundary, oh, because you're afraid and hesitant in your discipline because you don't want to damage your child's self-esteem, because that's usually what's going on. I was terrified to draw a boundary with my kid. I didn't even know what that looked like. A boundary? It's like, hello. So I needed help. And I'm grateful to those parenting experts out there who reminded me to be the adult in the room and to be authoritative, to know that my son needed to stop telling me to whatever, to stop hitting me. And it was not his fault. He had a mother that couldn't draw a boundary that would take it because I was trying to talk him into good behavior. And it wasn't easy to turn the ship around. But you know what? It happened pretty quickly. It wasn't easy because it went against everything I believed in. It really did. It really, really did. It was so hard. I remember the first time I gave my child a consequence, he was fine. I was crying in my room. I said, you must go to your room and stay there for the rest of the day, whatever it was. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not giving you direction. I don't even know you. But I felt so bad. And I could hear him. I'm crying. I was crying. It hurt so much to give him a consequence. Really. And he came out of his room, not out of his room. Actually, I could hear him in there, you know. He was about, I'd say 5. And he was playing with something in his room. There were a lot of toys that were out of his room by that point when I gave him that consequence. But, you know, and later on for dinner, he came out and he said, Mommy, I don't want to hit you again. And I said, okay, that sounds good to me. Uh, but I needed to give him some meaningful consequences to cause him to make a different choice. But I wasn't mean about any of it. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten. And you can have that too. If you're struggling with that, you could book a call with me, coach@icoachmoms.com. We could see if we can work together. But if this resonates with you at all, you want your kids to be happy. And in order to have happy kids, they need to be well behaved. That means they need to follow the directions of legitimate authority, a loving, unconditionally loving parent, and that is you. Because when they're older and they're teens, if you don't handle a tantrum now, it's very tough when they're older. Because they just like, yeah, whatever. I ran the show in this house for years. And we're taking kids' emotional temperatures. I was listening to an expert the other day. He's I think he's a psychologist, he's a parenting expert. Had some terrific ideas because I can always learn from someone. We can always learn from everyone, right? And he wanted to talk to his daughter about something or something she did, and he was insistent upon connecting with her. She was 6. He was insistent upon, when you're ready to hug me, hug me. We have to talk about this. What happened earlier, we're exhausting our kids with this stuff. We're taking codependency to a whole new level. It's not to their benefit. And it's to their benefit that they behave well, not for you. Will your life be easier? Well, sure. You'll be able to have a phone conversation without a kid going, mommy, 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 because you'll have a boundary that they can, you know, they will be respectful and wait and pause and say, excuse me. Sure, that can make your life easier, but this is for them. All right. I hope you got something from this. Um, the last thing I'll say is when it comes to anger, yes, we never scream or yell at our children. We can be firm, but we don't yell. Some of my clients come to me and some of them have real anger issues, and I say, you have to handle that. I'll help you because you want to be relaxed. All of this can be done in a very relaxed way and should be. The most relaxed parents have the most relaxed kids. So My son, I can hear him going, Mom, you're not relaxed. Well, because I worry a lot. But when it comes to drawing boundaries, pretty relaxed. I expect that to be done. I expect this to be done. I'm not barking orders. And I learned that from others. And I would love to help you do the same. Coach at icoachmoms.com. And I want to thank you so much for giving me all this time if you hung with me this long. And if not, I'll just know this is up there for maybe the neighbor to watch if they want to. Seriously, that is my time. Thank you very much for giving me yours. Coach at icoachmoms.com.